Hello friends, it's Ric Beattie. I'm the Senior Minister here at Unity of Royal Oak in Royal Oak, Michigan. We are part of this metropolitan Detroit area. We're an inner ring suburb to the city of Detroit. And it is an honor to welcome you to our midweek meditation. We share some kind of a meditation on Wednesdays, and I'll talk with you about an upcoming little bit of a change as it affects World Day of Prayer coming up in September. So I have lots of t-shirts and I wear them because, one, it's warm in the building. Part of our air conditioning has been out all year and we will replace it in the spring because we have to replace a furnace with it and we want to build up the cash to do that. And anyway, this one, The Spice Must Flow, is from the movie Dune. Actually from the series of books that Frank Herbert wrote called Dune. And they're sci-fi fantasy books, and you know, I'm kind of a student of classic sci-fi, Robert Heinlein and some of the others, and Frank Herbert was masterful, and he wrote a series of books about a planet called Arrakis, or Caladan, and not Caladan, Arrakis, or Dune, that was its name. And spice was a drug that permeated everything on Arrakis. And it caused the mind, it caused consciousness to expand. And I'm not advocating that you go out there and have a hallucinogenic experience to expand your consciousness, because frankly, I've, in my younger days, had done some of that, and I have been as mind-blowing, open, consciously, without any other substance as I have been with. So it just depends on your willingness. But I love sci-fi fantasy. I love it. And I, in the past, when I was at a church that had big screens in the sanctuary, I did several series of talks about sci-fi fantasy movie clips. Someday I'll do that here at Royal Oak as well. And I often wonder about science fiction. Do writers connect to the one mind, as we teach it in Unity, the one mind, the one presence, the one power, and draw from that what they see there? Or do we create what they put out, what they imagine, what they envision? Perhaps it's both. You know, in Unity, our Trinity is mind idea expression, that it all begins with the thought in the mind of God, and call it God, call it life, call it universal intelligence, call it source energy, doesn't matter. Has lots of words. And some of those words have a strong connection in people, positive or negative charge. So find the words that work for you. Anyway, one of the big takeaways for me, I have many quotes, hundreds of quotes from the series of books. There are 10 books. There have been now 2 movies, a TV series, and a new movie, the first half of which has already been out, and of course I saw it within a couple of days. There's this Bene Gesserit litany against fear. And I remember the very first time I read it, I just was transfixed. I was reading it lying on my bed as a much younger man, probably in my 20s, just lying on my stomach on my bed reading this book, and I read this concept of the litany against fear. And the Bene Gesserit are a sisterhood that had much to do with all of the very intricate unfoldings of things on the planet Dune. But I've always been captivated by the truth in this, so I'm going to share it with you. I want you to take each line in. I must not fear. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. only I will remain. Very short, very sweet, succinct, to the point. We talk about sometimes in recovery circles about fear being an acronym for false evidence appearing real. That's always struck to me about fear too. And then I looked at Revealing Word to see what Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, said about fear. And he defined it as this. First of all, from Webster, painful emotion marked with alarm, dread, or disquiet. And then he went on, fear is one of the most subtle and destructive errors that the carnal mind in humanity experiences. Fear is a paralyzer of mental action. It weakens both mind and body. Fear throws dust in our eyes and hides the mighty spiritual forces that are always with us. Blessed are those who deny ignorance and fear and affirm the presence and power of spirit. My friends, there's only truth. I don't think that Frank Herbert was a Unity student. And yet what he wrote in this Bene Gesserit litany against fear is very similar, right? I will face my fear. Well, fear is the mind killer. When we're afraid, have you noticed this? When you're afraid, there are no ideas coming. It's a response of the amygdala, the very basic part of our brains. So we get caught in fear, fight, flight, or freeze. We don't know what to do. We have to get up into the frontal cortex, the newest part of our brains, where the seat of reason, where we can make a decision. I don't have any idea what you may be afraid of, if anything. I've heard lately of interesting discussions, people afraid about both of our major political parties in the United States getting elected the presidency, people afraid about the coronavirus is never going away, afraid about not enough electricity, not enough gasoline, all of that, all of the scarcity and lack. Fear, a lot of fear for me comes, points to scarcity and lack, the belief that we could be without something. We're very resilient people, human beings are. Humanity as a species, look at what we've accomplished. So, fear throws dust in our eyes and hides the mighty spiritual forces that are always with us. How do we counter fear? It's not to fight it. We don't want to fight with it. We don't want to give it energy. We want to deny its existence. Fear is an idea. It's a thought. It's just a thought, and out of that thought springs an emotion, this feeling, this strong feeling that can bring paralysis to us. Can the thought of the truth that you and I are filled with the presence and power, some call the I Am, Jehovah, Yahweh, all that is, the activity of God, the very life of God in us, as us. And how do we get in touch with that and strengthen it? One of the ways is meditation. We spend some time, hopefully morning and night, but begin at least 5 minutes a day. In the quiet, in the stillness. Focus, give your mind something to do. Let it focus on the humming of the refrigerator, the drip of water, anything to keep it busy. It wants to be busy. Think of a puppy. Give the puppy something to do and it'll do it. So that we can then become the observer, so that we can notice that there's more to us than the activity of all of that thinking. So I'm going to start some music in a moment. I'm going to use Gregory Barrett's Heart of Oneness because it's handy, it's on my phone, and I can stream it to the speaker behind me on the table. But before I do that, I invite you just to notice your body, to allow it to get some support for itself. To see if you're carrying any tension with you. These are really interesting times we live in, if you think about it. I mean, they are interesting. And full of unknowns. The unknown often gives rise to fear. We don't know what's coming. We want to know. We need to know. Well, what I need to know is that there is within me a force greater than I am. Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, says, it's the force that creates worlds. I believe that. I'm audacious enough to believe it, and I have not had that experience in me, but I've had some pretty powerful experiences of the power of God in me to lift me up out of something. So I'm going to start some music here. And I'm going to invite you to become centered and settled. Take a deep cleansing breath with me. Deep breath in. Hold it. Sigh it out. Another deep breath in. Hold it. Sigh it out. Another deep breath in. Hold it and release. And now allow your breathing to return to its normal pattern. The breath is a great teacher. I've said it many times. And we give our mind something to do by helping it focus on the breathing. Should any noise distract you, something where you are, the barking of a dog, the sound of a car horn here where I am in Royal Oak, Michigan, let it just be a reminder to turn away from the outer world and turn within. And before I begin this meditation, I do want to acknowledge that I keep hearing from people about how they're connecting with this meditation and find it valuable. I'm so grateful. It is part of my own spiritual practice. I share it from that perspective. It helps keep me centered, and that's why I do it. That's actually why I'm a minister. I jokingly said years ago, I'm a minister because God doesn't trust me half part-time. I've got to be full-time engaged, and this is my way. So I'm grateful for you. I would love to hear from you. Ric, R-I-C, at unityofroyaloak.org. All one word, RIC at unityofroyaloak.org. You can visit our website at unityofroyaloak.org. You'll find our address there. You'll find our list of current activities. I know there is we have people who connect with the meditations from California, from Bay City, from Chicago. Dear lady emailed me a couple of days ago, and she's from Utah. Knew me from my days at my former church. So I love the fact that we can be connected this way. And I'd love to hear from you. If you are feeling guided to do so, you can make a contribution through our website, or you'll find our mailing address on our website as well. You can send a gift if you choose. But there's no charge. I offer, and we offer in Unity tools, principles, practices that can transform your life if you're willing to do the work. I can't do the work for you. If I could, I would. Then we would shift the planet quick. But the more of us grab on to these principles and ideas for living life with a new way of being, a new way of engaging the world around us, with less fear, with less judgment, then when we have less fear, less judgment, then more love. More love for ourselves, more love for our fellow human beings. And grateful for that, grateful for you. So, all right, let's just get relaxed. I'm going to turn the music up a little bit. And let's spend a few minutes allowing the music to carry us, allowing our minds to drift a little bit. Safe in God, always safe in God. And with each breath that you take, allow yourself to relax a little more deeply. To let go of the concerns of the day, any fears that you have acquired. You are powerful beyond measure. certainly powerful beyond our understanding. And we are aware that we are evolving spiritual beings, that we're more aware today of who we are than we were a year ago, 5 years ago. For some of us, 60 years ago. And follow that next breath a little bit more deeply inward to the place in you where the Christ is enthroned, where the fullness of God is present, in, through, and as you in this moment. Again, if you should hear any noise or anything that distracts you, allow it to be a reminder to turn your attention back to your breath and to follow the next breath inward. And now while we remain in a meditative state, I'm going to turn the music down a little bit and invite you to call to mind an image. It could be of yourself, someone you love, care about, someone you know, someone you've seen recently, who could use some prayer energy, some love, some healing energy beamed their way. Because I believe we can share this at any point across the planet right now in this moment. And I'm thinking of several dear ones whose names are in our prayer box currently. Susan and Carol, Brian, others. And when I pray for someone, I behold the healing activity of God active in and through them as them. And I see the same for our planet. Those pictures behind me are there intentionally. A picture of my mother and I over here, whoop, over there. Got a friend named Carson painted from a picture. The planet behind my head. The beautiful center of a beautiful flower. I pray also for our planet, for the waters, for the fishes, the birds, the animals, including us. All of us. We're stewards. We human beings are called to be stewards of the earth. And so today I ask us to lean into that, to be a steward of the earth, to hold everything in perfection in our minds. Almighty God, we trust and know that you are a power, not just a power, but power itself active in us, as us, through us, expressing your life in us. And we know you're doing the same thing in everyone else, that you are not a sentient being, but you are the state of being itself. And it's from this place of oneness, awareness, deep connection, we bless the world. With our gathering right now in this moment, we gather in all of the names that we call holy, for that one which is beyond any name. And so it is. Amen. Know that right where you are, God is. Our prayer for protection says that the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. All is well. Remember, friends, the spice must flow. And when I turn my inner eye and to see the path of fear, I find nothing there. Only I remain. Namaste.